Have you ever driven through town and wondered how some drivers even have licenses? If you have, you wouldn't be alone, and in today's episode I am going to show you 101 drivers driving around like idiots. I am Grandpa, by the way, and I hope you equally enjoy and are annoyed by these as me. Believe me when I say I have seen some dangerous cut-ins in my life, and this definitely makes the top 10. The sedan just joined without looking around. The one recording did pretty well to maintain control, and boy was he lucky there were no incoming cars on the opposite lane when he lost control to that side. What do you think happened here? We only have the motor rider's view, which makes it hard to deduce. One of the drivers didn't follow the traffic light. But who? If you have an idea, leave a comment. This will expose those of us who don't understand traffic signs and those who do. If you thought that was bad, then I don't know what you will make of this. I literally have no idea what the driver of the four-wheel drive had in mind, but clearly it was not to damage his vehicle or crash. I am no world-class driver, but even I know that you shouldn't be parking close to a railway. Perhaps he didn't think the train would come soon. Unfortunately, his vehicle is damaged, and he would be paying for the damage to the train too. But at least he's learnt a lesson he will be keeping for the rest of his life. Grandpa here must have angels protecting him because he dodged being crushed by just a few inches. Did this driver put his vehicle in reverse and forget to change it back? I mean, that's the only explanation for what just happened. If that's the case, someone needs to go back to driving school. I've seen some negligent driving in my day, but I don't understand how people keep making mistakes like this. If you are going to be driving a vehicle, you want to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings at least. This could have ended really badly. Driving can be dangerous, yes, but that risk is increased exponentially on rainy days, which is why you shouldn't be driving anyhow. Whoever is driving that vehicle clearly missed the memo and put his life and others at risk. It could have ended much worse than this. How often do you see something like this? I mean, that's an expensive car, and the last thing anyone wants is to crash something like this. I am not sure what that driver was trying to do, but after paying a lot of money to fix this, I am pretty sure he won't be trying something like this again anytime soon. Traffic lights are kept in place for our own safety, but then again, there are those who think they are above the law. Such individuals cause accidents like this. Hopefully no one was hurt, especially the innocent driver. What happens when there's no traffic light and you've got to go? Whatever you decide, don't do this. This guy just drove into the road without paying attention to the car coming. Not only did he get his own car damaged, but he ended up damaging the vehicle of this innocent man as well. Fortunately, no one died. And this man might just top the idiocy chart. First off, that road is very, very narrow. How do you attempt an overtake on it? There's just no logical explanation for this. Unless his brakes failed and he had no choice, he needs his license taken from him for a while. Many of us don't realize it, but the faster you go, the easier it is to destabilize your vehicle at the slightest bump. And this accident proves just that. I am not sure how the incoming driver hit the vehicle ahead, but it was enough to veer him off his path and into another vehicle. If you must go fast, make sure it's lower than the speed limit and you can handle it. What happens when you grow old but still want to drive like you did in your youth? Well, this is exactly what happens. I have no idea who advised Gramps to do this, but he is very lucky to have made it out in one piece. Even much more lucky he didn't injure or kill anyone. Life isn't a video game, but it looks like every now and then we meet drivers who seem to forget that fact. Why else will you be speeding here? What if you drove off? What if you pushed another vehicle off? I mean, he almost did. But thankfully, it never really got there. What do you think happened here? Brake failure, miscalculation, negligence, or plain idiocracy? It's hard to tell, but that man is very lucky he was not hit. It could have ended really badly. Those in the vehicle, however, may be physically and psychologically scarred for life. It takes a lot of tact and skill to operate these machines, and clearly this individual lacks them. I mean, how else do we explain what just happened? Hopefully the driver isn't seriously injured, even though I doubt that's actually the case. All it takes is a slight error in judgment behind the wheel to put multiple lives in danger. It's scary to think and even imagine what the impact of that collision will feel like. There's no way anyone is walking away from that uninjured. We can only pray that their injuries are not so serious. I know sometimes we can be overly confident in our abilities, but the last place you want to be like that is while on a bike. I don't know who this man was talking to, but he is lucky he didn't run into traffic or even get run over. Rules keep you safe. Adhere to them. It takes a certain kind of special driver to get into situations like this. I know many individuals trust their four-wheel drives, but come on, you should know these vehicles have limits. At least this driver has learnt that even if he did so the hard way. No one likes to crash their car, but in the unfortunate case that they do, no one would want it to be in front of the police unless they were innocent, which this man isn't. I can't imagine how he must be feeling. Whatever the case, thankfully it was not so bad that someone got hurt. Now, I don't even know what to say about this. I know reversing can sometimes require a lot of skill, but I don't think this is one of those situations. Either the individual behind the steering forgot how to drive, or he or she is experiencing mechanical failure. Either way, I hope the person isn't injured too badly. I know we love to move fast in this generation, but the last thing you want is to move very fast and lose control on ice. Clearly, the man behind the wheel of the incoming car miscalculated, and what you see on your screen is the result. What do you think is happening here? I initially thought this was someone probably drunk and driving recklessly until I saw the police vehicle parked there. That left me wondering if it's a coincidence or if the driver is just attempting to escape the police. Which do you think it is? Why would anyone think it's a good idea to navigate a curve that sharp at such speeds? Unless there was some brake failure or something, there was absolutely no reason to be moving that fast. I guess the driver learnt the lesson the hard way, and I genuinely hope he survived it. You know those times when a smart idea doesn't seem like such a bright idea after all? Well, this is one of those times. Hopefully nobody was hurt in the process. So who do we blame here? The truck or the four-wheel drive? It's hard to see what happened beyond the truck, but there are two possibilities. The four-wheel drive applied brakes too suddenly without considering the vehicle behind, or the truck was just not paying attention. Which do you think it is? Have you ever wondered what happens when you give kids expensive toys? Well, wonder no more, because this is exactly what happens. They wreck it and put the lives of others at risk. Thankfully, no one was hurt in this one. I am no prophet, but I believe everyone and anyone on that bus will definitely be injured. I have no idea what the driver was trying to do, but clearly it didn't work. How fast should a bus go? If this footage is anything to go by, then it's safe to say, not above the speed limit. You don't need to be a genius to know that the driver of this vehicle most definitely lost control. Unless one of his tires bursts, this is all on him. This is what happens when you play too many games and are detached from reality. The drivers of those two vehicles were apparently racing when this happened. Thankfully, nobody died, but it takes a special kind of idiot to endanger not just their lives, but the lives of others in a street race. If you've made it this far without liking or subscribing, please do that for us as we move on to the next clip. Thank you very much. Tell me you are drunk without telling me you are drunk. This right here is a classic situation of drunk driving. Do you know what's funny about the whole thing? The driver doesn't even realize the situation he's in and how badly he wrecked his vehicle. It's sad, actually. Very sad. Trucks and trailers require a lot of skill to handle them. In this situation, the driver clearly miscalculated. He may have lost his tires, but he should be glad that's all he lost, considering the trailer could have done a lot more damage, or Rather, suffered a lot more damage, don't you think? I know you are tempted to think that vehicle is possessed, but believe me when I say the situation is far from that. It's not even a supernatural one. Unless there's some mechanical failure, it's safe to say that whoever is behind this vehicle doesn't have the required experience for it. Overspeeding kills, but hopefully this didn't kill the one behind the steering wheel. I have no idea what he had in mind, but whatever it is, this will be a lesson to ensure he never has such ideas again. Now, I have seen a lot of funny and silly things in my day, but never have I seen this. This driver may have survived the crash into the sign, but it also had a thing or two it wanted to let off its chest, and the driver was at the receiving end of it. If you ask me, I believe he deserves it. I haven't called anyone an idiot in a while, but if anyone deserves that title, it's whoever is driving this vehicle. How do you do something like this? Why? How? For what reason? It's not like there was a turn or lane there he was joining. If that was deliberate driving and not due to hardware failure, he needs his license revoked. This is what happens when you have a lot of money and don't know what to do with it. I mean, what other explanation can you give for this whole situation? How do you let yourself get into a situation like this? Maybe I am being judgmental, but what do you think? Since I began working on this script, I have struggled to classify some individuals as idiots. But watching this footage again, I believe this guy deserves the title. Don't you agree? I have no idea how this started, but what would you do if you were this man? I mean, he didn't want his vehicle to crash, but I also don't see the logic behind putting himself in danger. Believe me when I tell you, it's easier to fix a broken car part than it is to fix a bone. And don't ask me how I know that. Quick question, how many dumb drivers do you see in this video? How that vehicle got stuck is a whole mystery on its own. But the bus driver? How did he not see that the vehicle was stuck? Maybe he too miscalculated, or perhaps there was no way around the white vehicle obstructing traffic. The truth of the matter is, this ended much better than I had imagined it would. The vehicular collisions were not as bad, and they didn't run over the man at the fuel station. Obviously, the truck driver is not serious and at fault, but at least we can celebrate the fact that everyone was fine at the end. Who tries to drive with a tire clamp wheel lock in place? Well, apparently this guy. I don't know what he has in mind, but I know what his reality will soon become. A damaged vehicle with a hefty bill and accompanying legal charges. Let's just say it won't end well. I know we encourage individuals to work smart, but sometimes the only way, the best way, is the established way. This old man tried to be smart and may have just ended up breaking some bones that will definitely break the bank. I'd hate to be him right now. Have any of you ever felt like driving around with your trunk open? If you have, allow me to be the first to tell you it's a bad idea. If you don't take my word for it, learn from this clip at least. So first question, who is the idiot here? I believe the answer should be obvious. The next time you are on a narrow road like this, it will do you good to not just be right, but make allowance for the foolishness of the other driver. I mean, it's stressful, but that's the only way I can see you preventing something like this. Who tries to cross a railway when the train is coming? This guy! I have no idea what was going through his mind. But this will surely be a good lesson to him. No matter how tempting it gets, never ever ever try to cross the railway when there's a train approaching. How do you tell the boss that the new recruit destroyed the fire truck during the training session? I understand the enthusiasm, but this is definitely too much. Was he trying to beat a time? Or did anxiety get the best part of him? I guess we'd never know. How does this even happen? Was the driver sleeping? Was he moving too fast? Or did he simply not care? Whatever the case, we should sure be glad that there was no vehicle or pedestrian in his path. If there was, It could have been instant death for the unfortunate soul. This guy takes the phrase wheels on fire to a whole new level. Have you ever seen anyone else drive around with their wheels on fire? This clip is almost threatening to take the #1 spot on our list of idiots behind wheels. This is what I like to call an overestimation of the abilities of one's vehicle. I know there's a lot of hype around 4WDs and their strength, but they have their own limitations. And this car owner found that out the hard way with a lot of bills. I know this looks like a scene from a movie, but it's not. Despite being cinematic and all, this actually happened, and there were actually lives at stake in this crash. We don't know what started it or who is responsible, but despite looking cool, there were probably a lot of people who were injured in this. Cool, but sad. Heavy machinery scares me, and if it doesn't scare you, something must definitely be wrong with you. This man may have thought he had everything under control, but he discovered a little too late that he didn't. I just hope the debris didn't really land on him and that he's okay. This driver may just win the Idiot Driver of the Day award. What was going through his head? How did all the people okay this? Not only did they pour the cement into the water body, but they also ended up plunging the vehicle into it. It will be a miracle if the driver survives without sustaining any serious injuries. One thing you should never ever do in your life is prank an officer on duty. It could make the difference between saving a life and spending time behind bars. Clearly this guy didn't get the memo. I pray he gets more than just that with an added package of time behind bars. If you pay attention to the footage, you'd know that the only driver befitting the idiot title is the car that veered off its lane. This caused the car ahead to brake, lose control and run into that truck. Like I always say, the highway is too dangerous place to have an inexperienced driver behind the wheel. When this footage started, I was pretty sure that the truck to the left was going to be the one with the idiot in it, but turns out I was wrong. Despite it being a rough stop, he was still able to stop the vehicle, and so did the others that came after him, until that white car and then all the others that came after. Were they simply idiots? Or was something unusual happening on that stretch? If you are one of those people who loves to jump red lights, let this be a lesson to you. It's dangerous and could potentially lead to your death. The last thing you want is for you to end up like this. Now go and sin no more. Whoever this is, he needs to go back to his God and thank him. Regular maintenance and servicing of your vehicle may be the key to saving your life, and this clip proves it. He's very lucky he was not speeding. If he was, it could have just been the end of his life. Before you try to overtake anyone, make sure you can see what's happening on the other lane, and make sure you are moving fast enough to safely get ahead of the vehicle you want to overtake before any incoming vehicle reaches you. The driver in this footage clearly missed the memo and put everyone in danger. And with this, we conclude today's episode. Before you go, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the footage. See you in the next one.